Hey guys, wanted to shoot a quick video just to kind of go over everything on your trailer and kind of explain it. I'm sure you're going to have questions when you get it and you start using it. You'll always be able to get a hold of me. But I really like how it came out. We got the blue and yellow thing going on, and I tried to pick that up wherever possible. Blue, yellow, and black. I spent a little extra money and got a black Honda engine for the soft wash just so it matched. I thought the red and white one would kind of look goofy back there. A special order blue hose. Look how close the blue is to the tank. Wow. And I just think it's a really neat looking trailer. You can see the paint on the fenders is really good. That's why I recommended having you guys wrap them. That way, if you ever took the wrap off, the paint would be nice over it. If we painted them, it would not be a great quality paint, and I'm just glad that you guys are going to wrap that. So let's go through it real quick. The box up front, that was an afterthought. I know I had talked to Ed about adding that later on after we had already had the frame built. In retrospect, we could have gone with a 16-foot trailer and put a little bit bigger box up front, but I actually like the way this came out and looks. I had to drive about 40 miles to find. I had a tough time finding a box that fit perfectly because it had to fit in here, and it couldn't conflict with the jack handle. But it came out really nice. There'll be keys in your packet. The way that the locks operate, that one's off. The way that the locks operate, you turn them 45 degrees and then it pushes in and opens up see, that one's turned. So it's got locks on each side, but you got a good amount of storage in there. That's the little manual for it. So working back from there, pressure wash unit, 8 gallon a minute. It's the most powerful thing we use. 8 gallon a minute. Single line's kind of strong. We do the 8 gallon a minutes because this unit's set up for 4 gallon a minute, and when you're going 4 gallon a minute, you've got two strong 3,500 psi at 4 gallon a minute lines. And then if you switch to single line for something really dirty or bad, you can go back to 8 gallon a minute. You can also run, if you want to run single line but not have so much output, so much pressure, you can switch to a 6 gallon a minute or a 5.5 gallon a minute tip, and it'll kind of take the kick out of the line. A little bit easier to operate, because 8 gallon a minute on a single line, I mean, you got to be standing steady and pull the trigger and hold on, because they are strong. The way that we do the 4 gallon a minute is in the tips at the ends of the spray guns. And by the way, the spray guns will be in here when we're shipping. Obviously there's 2 of them. When you're running dual line, you're going to put the 4 gallon a minute tips in each of the guns, and that way it won't surge or affect the other line when somebody pulls the trigger open. When you want to go to 8 gallon a minute, then you just put in one of the 8 gallon a minute tips, and the way to tell is the last 2 numbers. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. The last 2 numbers on the right here will say 8 or 8.5. That means it's an 8 gallon a minute tip. The 4 gallon a minute tips, of course, will say 4 gallon a minute, 40. And you can just switch between those for going single or dual. These are the 8 gallon a minutes up here. The 4 gallon a minute tips will be, I'll put them in the guns when I ship it. And the way that you switch back and forth between each hose line is the valving right here. So you've got 2 high pressure hose reels. One's right here and one's curb facing right there. The way you switch between them is right here on the valve. So right now, if it's going like this, that means it's open. If it's in line with the hose, obviously that's off. And then same with this one. If it's in line, it's on. Push it to turn it off. If you have both of them off, it's going to bypass through this hose and go back into the tank and just circulate. These are, you don't want to start the unit without guns on the ends of the lines and with these open, because then the hoses are going to go flailing. So either have the guns on the ends of the hoses or have these closed. So right now closed, and right like that one's closed. As far as fuel capacity, 12 gallons diesel, 12 gallons gasoline, 87 octane is fine in this. That's the big belt drive pump. That's what does all your output for your pressure wash lines. When you want to go hot water, just turn this switch on. That kicks the burner on, and then when you pull the trigger, the burner's going to fire. When you're not going hot water, just keep it off. Try to remember to keep that off when you're not using the unit. It's a little tiny bulb in there. I imagine over a period of time it could drain the battery. Battery's right there. That's for charging. That's for actually the electric start on the pressure wash engine. And as far as starting goes, real simple on these. You don't have to touch the throttle. The throttle's set from the factory. I think they disconnect it so that the engine's at the right speed for this pump. And you just go choke. You can see as soon as it started, I took the choke off. It's a little bit colder outside. You might have to leave that on a little bit longer. And when it warms up, maybe 20-30 seconds if it's cold weather, then you can shut it off. You shut it off too quickly and it's cold out, it'll kill the motor and you have to restart. Like we said, that's the battery. The battery charges off the alternator. The battery also provides power to your remote system. We'll get to that in a minute. That's your burner, obviously. You can adjust your heat, how much heat. That's the coldest set or the coolest setting. That's the hottest setting, and there's little numbers on here to tell you which one's which. I'm going to leave it on hot. So working back, this is our bleach tank. This right here is a valve so that the bleach vapors can escape but not leak out. It's a one-way valve, and there's no fittings in the bottom of this just because you don't want any leaks of bleach. You don't want any of the fittings leaking or they get kicked or what have you. So the way that we set it up is there's a filter inside, there's a hose. The hose comes up through that fitting and goes over to your proportioner. 80 gallon, we upgraded you to the 80 gallon. So this is 80 gallon. One thing, and I don't know if it'll get here before we ship the unit, but we do these no leak lids on them, but this one was missing an O-ring. They're sending the O-ring to me. If it doesn't get here by the time the trailer ships, I'll just mail it to you, but it goes, you just put it up right up in here, and what that does, it keeps bleach from leaking out. I wouldn't fill it up full anyway. I'd fill it up, I don't know, 78 gallons or something like that, probably 75 gallons. You could fill it up full and see if you get any leaks up here, but again, we're dealing with bleach, so there's that. The main water tanks, so there's two 200s, 400 total capacity. You can see they're plumbed together. There's join pipes on each side of the trailer. I put a drain up here in this corner, and I also put a drain back here for each tank, and nice little area between them for keeping the guns. If you wanted to do that, you could just leave the guns right there because they can't get out side to side. They obviously supply the pressure wash engine. You can see that line for the pressure wash goes right here. That's an inlet filter. Check that after you run the thing for an hour or two, and check it periodically. It'll catch any kind of debris from going into the pressure washer unit. That's the adjustment for your pressure. You don't need to adjust that unless you're doing something you really need to drop the pressure. You can back it off a few turns and drop the pressure down, but really it'd be better to control output by the spray tips on the ends of the gun. All right, working back, you had mentioned about these stickers that don't stick. I'm just really trying to use them all up so I can order new ones. I'm actually okay with them not sticking great because they're really more just for our pictures, and I really expect customers to peel those off once they get the trailer. Okay, the little tank, this is your surfactant tank. So there's your surfactant unit, 16 gallons. That's the line that goes up to the proportioner. That's a drain. If you ever need to drain it, there's a little drain hose on it. The way that the lid works is it's locked right now. When you're using it, try to remember either to put it on vent or take it completely off. But just remember when you go to transport, you put it back. Hold on 1 second here. We'll wait on that one. Of course, somebody calls me. Back here is your pressure wash line, and obviously you've got the other one up there. I did something different I've been doing lately on these. They're 150 feet on each one, but what I do is I do 100 and then a 50 on quick connects on each one. And my thought is, you're on a job and you're a little short with one of the hoses, you can unquick connect one of them from one of the reels, whichever one you don't need, and quick connect it on here and just get an extra 50 feet real quick. So that's why they're set up like that. Your soft wash pump, this is I'm very proud of this. A couple of reasons. One, I did an upgraded pump for you than what we normally use. We went with the AR45, which is a little bit better than the Comet. This is your bypass. This is the way you adjust your pressure output, and this is off and on out of the gun. When you get it, just call me and I'll kind of run you through how to operate that to work depending on what you're doing. I also did a 6.5 horse on the engine instead of a 5.5, so you can get some really good output out of that unit. I think you'd be very happy with that. And since we went with the bigger pump and the bigger engine, I went with a bigger hose. I went with the 5/8 blue. I'm so glad I found that. Actually kind of hard to find the blue ones. 200 feet, and then this quick connects onto your soft wash gun, which, by the way, is right here. It's got the J-rod on it, so that's your different tips on there. You just quick connect through the different tips, and it's got a quick connect on here. And that's your soft wash gun. And the way these reels work, we did the Steel Eagle reels, which I really like. When you're using them, you have this unhooked. And let's say you've got 100 feet out and you just don't want it to unravel anymore. You can use these little brakes, and it keeps it, it's a friction brake, and then it keeps the reel from moving. But when you're transporting, it's got these positive locks, which I really like. You push them in, you line it up with one of the holes, push it in, and then it'll, oops, hold on one sec. There we go. And then it'll click like that, and it locks it like not going anywhere. Great for going down the highway. You don't want these unraveling. All of the hose reels have that. This one's down here. You can see it's locked up. This one also has the friction brakes on it. I'm ambidextrous, so I used to set up the reel so that you could reel them up with each hand. Like some of the reels would be left hand crank, some would be right, but I realized not a lot of ambidextrous people in the world, so they're all right hand crank now. So that's that. And then moving forward, you can see there's anti-shift plates on the tanks. Keeps them from going anywhere, moving around. It's a common thing I see on some of the homemade trailers. They don't think of that. They go around a corner, and water is just tremendous weight, can really shift things. So coming up here, this is where we start getting a little bit complicated. This is obviously your other hose reel, and let's lock it. Coming up here, you can see we've got two output hoses here. Both of them go to the pressure washer. I'm sorry, both of them go to the proportioner, the soft wash system. And the way that it works, you got the remote system. So the way that this works, and it's kind of complicated, and I swear every time I build one, I gotta kind of go back to the instruction sheet just to make sure I run the plumbing correctly. But how this works is, think of this as a valve, your remote system. Think of it as an on-off valve for the bleach and the soap. And the way it works is the bleach and the soap come into this thing, and then they mix into a single hose, and the single hose goes into the bleach side of the proportioner. If you didn't have the remote, you would just have bleach, soap, water going to this, and you would come set your mixture and go to your soft water, and then when you had to change it, you come back and you mess with it. But having the remote system, you've got the remote in your pocket, and you can do it from 200 feet away. So basically think of it this way. The bleach and the soap are coming into this thing. You've got the remote in your pocket. When you push the button and open up the bleach and the soap, it's going to run through here. It's going to mix with water, and it's going to go to your reel back there. When you hit the button and turn it back to water, that's why it's got two water lines coming to it. Because when you bypass it, then it just runs water through here, and then you're just water rinsing. I actually spent a lot of, it wasn't a lot of money, it was just I just spent extra on that. This is usually opaque, usually can't see through these. I spent the extra $50 and got one. I just really wanted to go as all out as possible on this trailer, but this one, you can see your mixture going through here. I don't know, it's kind of a gimmick. I kind of like it. But anyway, that's where your stuff's mixing in your blend in here, and that's your bypass that goes back to the to your soft wash pump. Like we talked about, your battery. One thing about the soft wash remote is that there's an on-off switch for it right here. I had it on, but you should keep it off because I think these draw current when they're on, and it might kill the battery. So the way to know which one's on and off is just to have the remote, push the button. If it doesn't come on, then the switch is off. But if it comes on, then the switch is on. The switch is right there. I'll make sure the remotes are in your packet, along with the keys for the box and along with a bunch of other manuals. I know I'm kind of glancing through this quickly. You'll be able to get a hold of me pretty much any time when you get it, and I can kind of walk you through everything. But once you spend a little bit of time with it, they're not that complicated, and after a day or two, you'll be a pro. One other thing, or two other things I just noticed. One is these hoses right here. It's really nice. The Pressure Pro units, they do these so that you can drain the pump oil and the engine oil. I would change the engine oil at about a month, or maybe let's say 2 hours. 2 hours runtime, 2-3 hours runtime. I would just drain it out, fill it back up with 1030 or 1040 right up here. Your dipstick's right there. Don't worry about the pump for 6 months or so. You don't need to worry about that. And when it comes time to change that, you just drain it here and you fill it up back here, and it comes up halfway right here. It's easy to do. And the other thing is the hitch. I don't know if you've used a Bulldog coupler before, but the way that these work, they're really cool. They're real positive. Is you take the locking pin out of it, you push this back, and now it's free, and then you can uncoil it. Make sure you connect. You have your little right here, that's your breakaway for the electric brakes. If the trailer came loose, the breakaway would pull this pin out and lock the trailer brakes so it didn't go skidding off somewhere. When you want to reconnect, you just squeeze that, and then you just put the pin back through. Good to go. 2-inch ball. It should be about, from the ground to the top of the hitch ball, should be right about 18 inches so that the trailer rides level. So before you connect it, measure the distance from the top of your hitch ball to the ground and try and get it right about 18 right there. And remember, you're gonna have a couple inches of sag, so just from the weight. With your tow vehicle, mine, I've got an Explorer that's all juiced up. If it sags the back of your tow vehicle, you might have to get airbags like I have to keep it level, but we'll see. Your vehicle might be more robust than mine is as far as that goes. But that's it, guys. I'm going to shoot a promo video for it, and I'll put that on YouTube, and I'll send that to you so you can put it on your channel. It'll basically just be kind of like a generic video talking about the trailer. When you get the trailer, after about maybe 100 miles, go through and just check your lugs. It's a trailer thing, just to check your lug nuts. Make sure the lug nuts are tight. Something about trailer wheels. It's a really good thing to do. That's it. I'm going to ship it to you with not a lot of fuel in it. That's one thing I can't store a lot of at the shop is fuel. So I have enough diesel in it to fire. I've got, I think, about a gallon in here just to run it and test it. And I think I've got about probably about a half gallon in here. This is a gallon of fuel. They run a long time on a gallon. So that's that. All right, guys, talk to you later.